Hi there, this is Jack Campbell, Keller Williams Realty. I'm here today with none other than one of my besties here, John Robinson of John Robinson Home Inspections.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it,
hey,
Jack.
The reason you're here is obviously, I mean, we've been working together for years. In fact, before that we met today, I dug through my emails to see the first home inspection that we had with your team.
Oh, really?
And it actually was August 23rd, 2016 at 2 p.m.
Wow.
For some clients of mine, Patty Wasserman, Patty and Simon Wasserman.
Okay.
In fact.
Did I do the inspection, or was it one of my other guys?
It wasn't you. I think it was Matt.
Okay.
I think Matt had done that back then.
Okay, awesome.
But
Cool.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and obviously that was the leading edge of my opportunity to start working with you, and it's been a great many years since then, and more inspections than I think I can even count.
Right.
So,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
We'd have to go back and count them all up, but I know it's been a ton. So
Yeah, it has
I
been a
appreciate
ton.
it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're great. I mean, you guys are fantastic in the industry. But honestly, that's not why we're here today.
Okay.
Because I wanted to share with everybody a little bit more about you, about who you are, where you came from. So
Okay.
where are you from?
I'm actually from San Diego. I was born in Hawaii, but then my parents moved to San Diego, and I went to elementary school here, high school here. I went to Gompers and Lincoln, played football. I wrestled for Lincoln. I joined the Marine Corps, and then I ended up getting stationed right here in California. I was up in Tustin, and it was a Marine base and air base up there. They closed that base down, moved us to El Toro. It was like during the whole BRAC movement thing where I think Bill Clinton was the president at that time. And then they moved us down to Miramar. So it's funny, I joined the military, but I pretty much stayed home.
Local.
Outside of, I did 3 Westpacks, so I deployed quite a bit. And then I actually went to Afghanistan in '01 and did that thing. And then I decided to get out after 10 years because I actually discovered home inspections back in like 1999 when I purchased my first home. And I remember I was a corporal or sergeant in the Marines, and they were like, I wasn't making a whole bunch of money. I was buying VA, no money down. I had hardly any money in my bank account and all that stuff. And I remember the agent saying to me, "Hey, you got to get a home inspection." I'm like, "How much is that going to cost me?" She was like, $275. I'm like, $275? I don't want to spend no money.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So I got an inspection, and me and the inspector, we just hit it off at that time. He's actually still doing inspections to this day in Temecula because I bought that property in Hemet.
Uh-huh.
And we remained friends for years, and he decided to just teach me how to do inspections. So that's kind of how I got going into home inspections, because I was kind of at that point in my Marine life where I was like, I'd been in 6 years, I had just re-enlisted. I didn't know if I was going to stay in or if I was going to get out. So he was like, "You know what, I'll teach you a skill." And he didn't have to do that, but he did. He poured everything that he had into me and taught me how to do inspections. I actually went to school. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was a school called Inspection Training Associates. They were in Oceanside, and I went there, did their course, got certified through those guys. Became a member of CREA, which is the California Real Estate Inspection Association. I ended up switching from CREA to Internashi once I started working for another inspection company here in town. And the rest has kind of been history. I started John Robinson's Inspection Group back in 2011, and just been
Taking off since then.
Taking off
well,
since
I mean,
then.
I bet when you started as an independent home inspector, you never guessed that you'd end up being one of the leading inspection companies in the county.
No.
I mean, that's
No.
It's mushroomed. It's much larger than what you.
Absolutely. All I wanted to do was just pay my bills. That was all I wanted to do. Just pay my bills.
And it's funny. So you probably, your knowledge of building construction, your discipline that you brought with you from your life experiences through the military. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh,
I mean, that's
thank you for your
amazing.
support.
And then, finding a passion for houses and finding a passion for inspection. Obviously, you struck a chord when you experienced that the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what intrigued me most about inspections was how similar it was to what I did when I was in the Marines. As an avionics technician, you would kind of think aircraft and homes, how is there similarities? But part of my duties was to inspect work that was completed by other Marines when they would do work on the aircraft. So at first I started off as just an avionics inspector, and then I moved up to QA once I started, having more experience, gain more rank, more time in the Marines. And that was one of the things I really loved most about my job at that time, was not necessarily turning wrenches and fixing stuff, but it was going out there looking to make sure that things were done properly, and if it weren't, looking at the next person and saying, hey, get back out there and go fix it.
Yeah.
And when I saw how the inspector was going through our property when we were purchasing our home, I was like, this is something that I could see myself doing. It's pretty chill, it's kind of laid back, and at the time didn't really seem very physically demanding, but you will learn very quickly that home inspections actually is, or it can be if you do it correctly. And at that point, I just kept making those connections. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm going to have to. This is what I want to do. So there was really no stopping for me.
Yeah, and I would guess that your success is probably tied to your passion for the business. So that I'm sure the checklists that come with you, the disciplines that come through the military, I mean, all these things are. It's funny how our life experiences we grow up come with us into the business and into who we are today.
Absolutely,
right? So,
and we don't even really realize right away how some of these past experiences are going to turn into something different down the road, but it's all relatable. You just kind of have to keep your eyes and ears open and look for those opportunities that, you know what, I think I can make myself, I can carve out a life for myself doing this,
So let me ask you, what is the gnarliest thing you've seen in a home inspection?
Oh man, honestly, this is kind of a sad story.
I mean, that you're willing to share.
Yeah, I'll share it.
There might be some stuff you don't want to share.
There's some other stuff too, but I think one of the gnarliest things, it really has to do with people for the most part.
Yeah.
And we forget a lot of times about, or some people I think forget about their elderly relatives, or that auntie, that uncle, or whatever. And I remember doing this inspection out in I think it was Bay Park, beautiful area, but this house was literally the worst house on the street. And I pulled up to this property, and there was everything known to man in the front yard. The roof literally looked about that thick. It had to be at least 4 layers of roofing
layer on
on
top
it.
of layer.
And the layer on top of that was just it was really the worst roof I had ever saw. And the homeowner was the only person who was there. He actually met me out front. So when I walk across the street, it's just an older guy, probably in his 70s or so, if I had to guess. He could have been older, I don't know. But he just looked like the world everybody just forgot about him. And he really started expressing that to me and saying that, hey, look, I used to live in La Jolla, and I had all this, I had that, and now I've just been here, and my family forgot about me, and I just felt bad. And we go into his house, and it was like a maze. It was like a maze. From the front door to the kitchen, there was papers probably as tall as you, just stacked up. And it was just these little tunnels that you kind of had to go through to get to the kitchen. Then when you get to the kitchen, you couldn't find the sink. I couldn't find the stove. I looked underneath the sink, and there were actual mushrooms growing out of the sink. I mean, out of in the sink, underneath the cabinet.
The cabinet?
Yeah, mushrooms growing up out of there. And I was like, okay, let's go to the bathroom. I mean, we go to the bathroom. I wouldn't even want to explain to you the stuff that I was seeing in there. It was so bad. I normally start my inspections on the inside of the house. This is the reason why I asked them, hey, let's go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
This was the first time I was like, you know what? Show me where the crawl space is. I usually do that.
Can I get in there first, please? Let me get in the dirt in my hands and knees,
Exactly. So we ended up taking me outside, and as I'm walking, I'm like, hey, do you have a dog? Because I could actually smell dog waste. I'm like, but I don't see anything. I'm like watching my step. And then I look at him, and literally his entire backside of his body is covered in.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. That's probably the gnarliest thing I have ever experienced during a home inspection. Of course, you're gonna see stuff like holes in walls and electrical and that kind of stuff. But when it came to the grossest, gnarliest thing, that made I'll never forget.
And I'm sure your empathy kicked in real quick.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I picked up the phone. I called the buyers because they weren't there, and I'm like, hey, you don't need a home inspection. You guys need a general contractor out here, somebody from the health department out here. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on.
To help this guy.
Not me. Yeah, exactly. And So I believe that's what happened. They ended up getting, you know, Health and Human Services out there and, you know, making contact with the guy. So
and help him transition
help
to an
him
easier way
yeah,
of life, right? Obviously not able to keep up with.
Yeah, because the water hadn't even been on in that property for over a year, they said. They had just turned it on just for us to do the inspection.
Yeah.
So that's probably the worst.
well, thanks for taking the time to be here today and sharing your story. That's,
not a problem.
You know, it's exciting for people to understand and hear a little more information about what goes into getting people like yourself to where you are today, you know, to being the success that you are today in town. And I really appreciate having been in business with you for as long as we have and the work that you and your guys do for us. So.
I appreciate you, Jack. It's because of people like you that understand and can recognize when, you know, we don't want to go out there and create problems. We don't want to go out there and do the worst job ever. You know, I think everybody wakes up in the morning with a positive attitude and they're saying, you know what, I'm going to go out here and do my very, very best. And you have provided an opportunity for not only myself, but also my inspectors to be able to do that, show that, and execute that on a daily basis. Whenever you guys need us, we're here, we're there, we're ready to perform and provide just nothing but top-notch, you know, top-tier inspections for you and your clients. Perfect. So I really do appreciate you, appreciated everything that you guys done for us over the years.
Perfect. I appreciate you, John.
Thanks so much, Jack.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.